Hello and welcome back to the Padawan Podcast, Apocalypse Movies All Star Wars podcast, where we geek out on everything from the galaxy far, far away. I am your host, Jake Berlin, aka Qui-Gon Jake, and I am joined today again by Jacob Bartley, aka Grandma Bartley. How you doing, man?
I'm fantastic, man. I'm glad we're doing Padawan podcast bi-weekly now.
Yeah, we're gonna try and do it every other week. We're gonna try. Star Wars. It's an everyday thing, but the movie's in December, starts to get closer. A lot more stuff comes out. We're able to scrap together some things. So got a whole bunch of stuff to talk about today.
Yeah, and I just want to say thank you to the people who listen to the Padawan podcast and those who comment on it and like it. You're one of the main reasons why we do this. We want to keep this going. So thank you to all the Star Wars fans out there who listen to this podcast.
We really can't thank you guys enough. So, all right. Well, the first topic, a little short one, but 2 nights ago, we were able to check out Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 in IMAX down in Sacramento. And lo and behold, a 65 millimeter version of the Last Jedi trailer debuted in the previews. So no new footage or anything special, but bigger screen, just a little preview of what's to come this December. So I know you only got to see a little bit of it.
Yeah.
You walked in a little late, but what did you think of the expanded screen for IMAX?
Yeah, so I was outside. A couple of us were waiting for a friend to arrive, and I was like, I don't need to see the trailers. And I hear the Last Jedi music. I'm like, nope. And I run in there right away. I was like, I'm so dumb. I should have stayed. I should have went in and watched the trailers. And I walked in right when Kylo's mask was on the ground. It looks freaking amazing. I know we said I want to kind of stop going to IMAX, but I kind of want to go see the Last Jedi in IMAX as long as it's not 3D.
Yeah, the 3D one will bug me, that's for sure.
Yeah, I'm starting to honestly. I went from not liking 3D to probably hating it. Like Guardians, if I tilt my head a little tiny bit, it's blurry.
I was the same way. Yeah.
But that trailer looked amazing in IMAX.
Yeah, the expansion. Yeah. It looks beautiful when it's out in front of your face, and I'm hoping it's not 3D. I don't think Rian Johnson will do 3D. He's not usually a 3D director. I know it could be.
I don't know how they decide whether or not they're going to do 3D. Like Beauty and the Beast wasn't in 3D, was it? No, it wasn't.
Yes, yeah, it was.
Are you sure?
It was. It was in 3D.
Oh, okay, maybe it was.
Yeah.
Yeah,
at least the version I went to. I don't know if
we went together. I don't think it was in 3D, honestly.
I may be wrong, man.
I don't think it was. Yeah. But
was The Force Awakens in 3D?
Yes, it was, because I have my 3D glasses. So Last Jedi is probably going to be I still have my 3D glasses from The Force Awakens.
It'll probably be.
Oh, the BB-8 ones or whatever. But no, then we'll probably go to Century then.
Yeah, the theater right in the same city. It's reclining seats. It's a giant theater. So
I don't mind that.
All right, well, moving on, next topic. Rian Johnson had just revealed in a recent interview that he had asked J.J. Abrams to change the ending of The Force Awakens. Obviously, the ending of The Force Awakens, this refers to R2-D2 being accompanied by Rey and Chewbacca.
Spoiler!
At the end. Yeah, big spoiler. R2-D2 being accompanied, and originally J.J. Abrams was going to have BB-8 stay behind with Rey and Chewbacca as they traveled to Octo. Quotations from Rian Johnson. He said, "Yes, the big favor was I asked if R2 could come with Rey and if BB-8 could stay behind with the Resistance. Originally, it was BB-8 who went with Rey, which makes sense for the story in a way, but I asked, can you do me this solid and switch the droids?" Obviously, Rian Johnson was already in the process of writing The Last Jedi, and it made sense more for that story for R2 to travel with Rey and Chewbacca. We don't know why exactly. Obviously, them finding Luke, it almost makes sense. Luke and R2 go hand in hand. Maybe he has something for Luke that Rian Johnson has in mind, but I'm okay with it. But obviously, it does make sense that BB-8 would travel with Rey because they had such a good connection in The Force Awakens. But because they're going for Luke, it also makes sense that R2 would travel because it's Luke and Chewbacca, and so it makes sense just because of what happened in the original trilogy. So, what do you think?
Yeah, I actually love that they switched this because Luke seeing BB-8 is nothing. Luke seeing R2, that reunion, especially, we're getting kind of ripped off on these reunions. We're never going to get to see Luke and Han interact again, which I'm kind of disappointed about. I'm hoping we see Luke and Leia, and if they didn't already shoot that, then we're never going to see it.
Yeah, I think we'll see something.
We're going to see Luke and Chewie, which I'm very much looking forward to, and we're going to see Luke and R2, which Luke and R2 are like, I can't believe they're even apart right now. I'm surprised Luke didn't take
And
R2
how long
with
have
him.
they been apart?
And here's the reason why. See, I read on an article online that it would have made sense for BB-8 to go with Rey, and I know you said that, but I actually disagree because BB-8 is Poe's
droid, yeah.
He's not leaving Poe just because he made a new friend in Rey and to go with her. It makes so much more sense to me that as long as R2's, he awakes again. So now if he goes with them because of the connection with Luke and I know Rey doesn't know R2, but it's all good. She knows Chewie. They're all together. So I love that they did this and it makes sense to me. Honestly.
Yeah, hopefully there's it's touched on earlier in the movie, whether it's just because it's the reunion or maybe R2 has something secret for Luke that he's been hiding away for all these years. And
yeah, I don't think it's that. I think it's just for the sake of having that. It's going to be so special seeing them. And I love that Rey's up there by herself at first because I want to see them talk first and then have Luke. Because when Luke sees Chewie and R2, it's going to be such a great moment, I think. So.
Well, and part of me thinks that they did it because R2 could easily get up those steps rather than BB-8.
True. R2 can fly.
Exactly.
And
BB-8,
I don't know if they're going to show R2 fly because that's something from the prequel era, but he can do it.
He can. He definitely can. All right. Well, in the same article with Entertainment Weekly, excuse me, Johnson went on to discuss Luke and his role in The Last Jedi, and this is straight from EW, and this is from Johnson. Figuring out where his head was at the very first thing I had to do when writing this movie. I had to crack this, and it had to be something for me that first and foremost made sense. Why did Luke Skywalker go off to this island? That was the starting point, and that's what the entire movie explores. And he went on to say, talking about Luke's exile, there has to be a good reason that makes sense to him and to some degree makes sense to us. So, if we, break apart the words from Rian Johnson, it almost guarantees that Luke is almost the focal point of this film. It looks like we're going to be exploring, when he went off, why he went off. Obviously, we understand why with the whole new Jedi Academy he was trying to start, but there may have been more to that, so it's good to know that The Last Jedi will explore that, and to know that Luke isn't just going to be a supporting character like Han or Leia in The Force Awakens. He's going to be front and center most of the time with Rey, with Kylo, just as the poster teased, just as the teaser trailer teased. We kind of knew this, but what do you think of the comments from Johnson?
Yeah, it's very interesting to me. Like, it makes sense. I'm trying to think at the end of Return of the Jedi, where is Vader's lightsaber? Do we even see it? Or
no? I'm pretty sure it fell down the shaft of the Death Star when Luke cut off Vader's hand.
Yeah. Oh, so that's the next story actually. But I'm gonna love seeing where Luke's at because we didn't get Luke at all in The Force Awakens. So we better get some Luke. We better get some information on where he's been and what his mind state is. I think they pretty much. They kind of told us why he went into exile, honestly. If you think about it, what Han explains to Rey and Finn.
The apprentice.
Yeah, exactly. So, and he didn't say a boy named Kylo Ren or a boy named Ben Solo, but who knows? And I've heard other people speculate that maybe it was a different apprentice.
It might have been, and maybe Kylo followed him.
Maybe there was another guy who led it, and Kylo was just a part of that.
Yeah.
We don't know, but... Yeah, I'm just really excited to see where Luke is, especially, I recently was watching Empire Strikes Back, and I'm like, Luke was so different in those movies. Like, in each movie, he was very different, and he's going to be very different in this movie, and it's so, how great for us and for future Star Wars fans, like young kids right now, to be able to watch the original trilogy and then watch The Last Jedi and see Luke and hear the stories of where he's been, and then obviously... we might end up filling in that time with novels and TV shows and
I hope there's some kind of novel or animation.
Yeah,
or something.
I don't think they'll ever do a movie where we see Kylo Ren and Luke on a mission together. No. But I think a book is very possible.
A book or even like a comic book.
And I would honestly rather see a novel.
Yeah.
Because you can flesh out the characters
and
get across more information. And I would love to see like. So if you've read Bloodline or listened to it, I would love to see like right at that same exact time period where Luke and Kylo were, because I believe that book is 6 years before The Force Awakens.
6 or 7, yeah.
And Kylo's still good, and I have my theories as to why Kylo went bad, and I think Bloodline affects why he went bad. So, yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see where Luke's head is at and where he's been all these years.
Real quick, are you referring to Bloodline? Are you talking about the big reveal?
Yeah. So if you haven't read Bloodline, spoiler, but yeah. So it's revealed to the galaxy that Leia is Darth Vader's daughter.
Yeah.
So only like Han, Luke, and Leia knew. I mean, I'm sure Chewie knew and R2 knew and stuff, whatever. But as far as main human characters, only they knew, and it's revealed to the whole entire galaxy. And this stuff is like programmed everywhere. Like anyone can see this as long as they're like in a bar, you can hear about it. So what Kylo Ren doesn't know at that point, or Ben doesn't know. So he's gonna find out. I think finding out that his parents lied to him his whole life, that Luke lied to him his whole life, and they kept that from him, is gonna be, if not the reason, but the start of him going down a dark path. And I don't think the movies are gonna explain that, because they're not gonna make it to where you had to have read Bloodline to understand the movies, but they could explain it if they want.
Well, and we're currently reading the Aftermath series, and spoilers for that if you haven't read those, but there's moments in those series because Leia's pregnant, they talk about the voices and the feeling of the dark side almost within her and the sun.
Yeah, like at first she feels him and she feels like the light, and then all of a sudden she goes into this darkness, and it's like, it's kind of that thing with Star Wars, like the balance, like not everyone is pure good. Like every single major good force user tinkers with the dark side. Luke did it. Obviously, Anakin did it. Rey, we were already seeing Rey do it. Kylo's getting pulled to the light constantly. Like, no one is pure dark side or pure light side.
Except Obi-Wan.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, that's true. That's true. But we don't know.
We really don't know.
I don't think he actually performs in dark side rituals or whatever you want to call it, but expressing anger and stuff like that is considered dark side stuff. So
when Qui-Gon died, that's
exactly.
Straight anger.
And he killed Darth Maul.
Yep.
And I think they're taught not to kill unless you have to. So
yeah, well, Anakin says in episode 3, it's not the Jedi way.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, and Obi-Wan slices that fool in half.
Straight up murder.
So Obi-Wan has gone dark side.
Exactly.
I mean, even though Darth Maul didn't die.
All right, well, moving on. The next story is a rumor, so take this with a giant grain of salt. It comes from Making Star Wars. A recent rumor has been floating around after the release of the Star Wars Last Jedi trailer. And this is straight from Making Star Wars and their article. Quote, I have been told that in Star Wars The Last Jedi, our favorite Skywalker is wearing a pretty cool necklace that might connect to the recent rumor. The shape supposedly is sort of like that of a wooden dog whistle when seen from a distance. I know that's a weird analogy, but that's not what I was told. Or that's what I was told, excuse me. However, the interesting part is that when you look at from the bottom of the necklace hanging around the neck of Luke Skywalker, you will see a red crystal protruding from the bottom of it. The red crystal or gem on the bottom of the necklace is factual and very solid information, and he does wear it in the film. I don't know if this is a story element explored in the film or it will be just a part of the lore. I'm putting it with the rumor I opened with because it makes a lot of sense, and I think the connection could be pretty strong between those early rumors and what I've learned he wears on screen. If Luke Skywalker has the last Darth Vader Kyber crystal, someone like Kylo Ren would really want it. I don't know why Luke Skywalker doesn't just destroy it, but he would clearly see that someone as into symbolism as Kylo Ren would be even more of a monster if he possessed it. So, again, this is just a rumor, but it's a very interesting rumor. Like we had talked about a little bit earlier, I'm pretty sure the last time we saw Vader's lightsaber...
Yeah, now I'm on the right story.
Yeah, you're good. I'm pretty sure the last time we saw Vader's lightsaber was when Luke cut off his hand in The Return of the Jedi. And I haven't seen that movie.
As many times as I've seen that movie, I'm surprised I can't think of where his lightsaber is. It might have just fell on the ground.
It might have been on the ground. It might have fell on the shaft that Palpatine went down.
So this is interesting, but if you've read Aftermath,
yes,
the first book, there's something about Vader's lightsaber in that book.
Yeah. So if this is true, This could be very, very, very interesting.
And what does that mean?
Well, what if Kylo needs what if he needs another piece to finish his crystal? To finish the crystallized...
So are they saying it's just a piece of Vader's
Just
crystal?
a piece of the crystal.
And maybe that's why Kylo's flickers?
Yeah.
And he wants that one last
Yes.
piece. And I mean, he wants to kill Luke, but
He
maybe
does,
that's
but-
part of the reason why he wants to go so bad.
Exactly. And
And
imagine...
Kylo's so greedy. He wants Anakin's old lightsaber and his red one and his mask.
But imagine if... Like, yes, he wants to go after Luke. The First Order wants to go after Luke. But imagine if Kylo has some kind of side mission where he knows
that, Luke
that his
has
uncle
that.
has this
Yeah.
crystal,
That would
and
make
Luke knows
sense.
that he has to keep it from him, because if Kylo gets a hold of it, he could become like extremely powerful.
Yeah,
Channeling that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it'll literally make him
No,
more powerful,
but-
like him knowing that he has that
Yeah.
could just like take his ego to a whole nother level.
Well, it's like having Vader's mask.
Yeah, exactly. So anyways, so in Bloodline they have these little interludes, right? Or not Bloodline, excuse me, Aftermath, right?
Yeah.
They have those little interludes. I believe it's in the first one where they have these two people and they're selling a red lightsaber.
Yes, you're right,
And they
yeah.
tell the people they're selling
It's
it to that it's
Vader's.
Vader's. But we as a reader or listener, we don't know for sure whether it's Vader's. And after they sell the lightsaber, the lady asks him, "Is that really Vader's old lightsaber?" And he's like, "Who knows? Who cares? We still
Yep.
got paid for it."
Yep.
So that could really be Vader's lightsaber, or it cannot be.
Mm-hmm.
It's a red lightsaber either way. It's a real red lightsaber. So if that is Vader's lightsaber, then it either went from those people and found its way to Kylo and or Luke, or that it wasn't really their lightsaber. But I don't know what the purpose of that interlude would be if it wasn't his lightsaber.
It had a meaning.
Yeah.
Because it's new canon, so it connects somehow.
So either it was saying, either it really was Vader's lightsaber, or it's just saying like there's still all these Force relics around everywhere. Like there's another, I believe it's in the second book, another set of characters have another lightsaber.
Yeah.
And they cut off somebody's arm or something like that. So there's lightsabers around in the galaxy, and mostly non-Force users have them, because there's
The
not a
Jedi's
lot
gone,
there's not a
and-
lot of Jedi. I mean, except Ezra, he's
Oh, jeez.
we'll
We'll see.
He's Snoke's real apprentice.
We'll see. Jesus. Yeah, I mean, this is very interesting. I mean, it'd be a very cool story point. I think, Vader he went back to the light side before he died, and Luke burned his body and gave him a funeral he wanted to, and all that kind of stuff. And then Kylo's kind of on the hunt for all these relics, whether it's just Vader or more relics as well. And for all we know, it could just be a straight red crystal, not Vader's, which he
true.
could still be channeling. Some
wasn't
kind
it
of Sith.
confirmed why Kylo's lightsaber flickers?
Yeah, it's a cracked crystal, or
Exactly.
maybe unfinished. It could be an
I
unfinished.
think it was
crystal.
cracked.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's a
I don't
cracked
know how
crystal.
that information came out.
It's the visual guide, that book that I
Okay,
have.
yeah. So
that
we
book
know
I
that
have.
that's why it flickers.
Yeah.
So it could be Vader's, and it could
Yeah.
have got damaged at the end of Return of the Jedi, and he found it. How awesome would that be if Kylo has Vader's kyber crystal?
And he turned it into his own
And that
crossguard
one little
lightsaber
piece
and-
would make it complete. I kind of like that it flickers. It makes it
It's cool.
different.
It's cool.
You don't want to see everyone with the same type of lightsaber. I want to bring the double blade back. Who's gonna have that? Ezra in The Last Jedi? Probably.
Oh my god! You really think that's gonna happen? Ezra and the Last Jedi?
I think.
Are you on that train officially?
Dude, I've been saying that for.
So you think he's Benicio del Toro?
I've been saying that for a long time.
So, but you're like officially like stamping it down.
I'm just for fun, I don't 100% think this. Like,
Yeah.
if you realistically, I would say there's probably, I say 40% chance that Benicio del Toro is Ezra. But for fun, I'm just gonna say yes. I really do think that he is Ezra, and I think it would be so cool.
I think it would be too. I totally think it would
And
be.
I don't think Ezra, if it is Ezra, I don't think he's Snoke's little lapdog. I think Ezra finds it beneficial for him to work with Snoke and kind of works for himself.
He's like a bounty hunter type, where he works for himself.
Exactly, but he's working it's beneficial for him to be with the First Order. But I don't think he's he just lurks in the shadows. He doesn't go out and he doesn't show himself, you know.
That would be extremely interesting.
And I think there's a possibility that Snoke is not even Force sensitive. That Snoke is not a Force user, and Ezra is the one who's finishing Kylo's training. I think that's a possibility.
Interesting stuff.
But then I don't know why they would fear Snoke then. Like Ezra, they could just kill him.
Well, he's kind of like the Emperor in a way.
Exactly.
He's just kind of running everything.
Yeah. And not everyone knew the Emperor had powers.
And we know now that he's been watching from the outside for decades.
Yeah.
Very, very long time.
In the Force Awakens, yeah. So we'll see, man. I mean, we're finishing Empire's End, so maybe we'll have some more information. I mean, I know there's speculation on who he is based on certain characters in that book. Hopefully. We'll see.
Yeah. All right. Well, continuing on with episode 8, Oscar Isaac recently did an interview with Business Insider for a recent movie. And while talking, of course, the topic of Star Wars comes up. And specifically, he remembered a scene with Carrie Fisher that he did. Obviously, The Force Awakens showed Poe and Leia had some good connections. They were part of the Resistance, 2 of the main players. This is a quotation from Oscar Isaac. It was basically my first day on set, and we did about 25 takes total. Half of them were on me, and half of them were on her. I can't give anything away, but there was a scene where there was some physicality there, and it was shot just over and over and over. She relished the physicality of it. Let me just say, it was pretty intense. It will be funny to see what they cut together based on that. He continued to say some really, really strong things in remembering Carrie Fisher. At every moment, she would just wander over with her Coke. She was constantly drinking Coca-Cola and find a way to undercut the situation or to cut through something to make me laugh. So it seems like Carrie Fisher in her last days was just relishing the moment of being Leia again in these movies and being around these type of actors. Oscar Isaac seems to have really cherished what memories they created on set. It seems like the 2 of them are going to have some strong scenes in the film as well, which makes sense because they're both part of the Resistance, two big parts of the Resistance. It also makes me wonder, physicality, intense. I think Leia's going to have some kind of Force stuff going on in this movie. Whether it's just like a push or a feeling, because we saw she felt Hyundai. That was obvious.
We know she's Force sensitive.
She has it.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think, between the 30 years of Return of the Jedi to Force Awakens, it would make sense for Luke to teach her at least something. Whether it's just with her hands in mind or whatever.
I mean, again, that's what's so great about the books. We learn so much stuff. Again, going back to Aftermath, we know he's trying to talk to her through the Force.
When we saw that,
and even in Empire Strikes Back. So, exactly. And we talk about all this new stuff like they just started doing it now.
It's been there for years.
They did it in Empire Strikes Back, and even in Return of the Jedi, she says, I feel like I always knew." She's definitely Force sensitive. There's no question about it ever since.
Now it's just whether or not we see it.
Yeah, and I think there's a difference. I think so. There's speculation that Maz Kanata is
Force sensitive. Yeah. Well, there was a deleted scene
where she brings down a building on some stormtroopers or whatever. But I think where Maz Kanata maybe is Force sensitive, but she's not a Jedi, and I think that's how Leia is going to be. Like I don't know if she's physically going to use the Force. I took the physicality as like getting involved in the battle like a blaster and just like.
I would love that.
So and that's nothing new.
Yeah.
Leia's been doing that for a long time. So it's not like all of a sudden General Leia decides to get in on the action. No, she always has been. So I think it's more she's like F this, grabs a blaster and goes out there and starts capping fools because we know she can shoot. So I think it's more. I mean, I don't want to see Leia grab a lightsaber and start fighting. But like a Force push or like saving maybe she doesn't use it, but she uses it to save somebody. That makes sense.
Or like a conversation with Snoke.
Yeah.
Some kind of mind thing like Kylo Ren and Rey.
Oh, I could see
like some
Jedi
kind of
mind tricks.
Yeah.
Or just like saving somebody or like pushing a stormtrooper off
the
ledge.
Well, because there was a recent rumor going around that there was going to be a confrontation between Snoke and Leia in the movie. Like between the 2 of them. Which could bring to question maybe there's some kind of mind thing going on.
I want to see Snoke talk to anybody because I want to get some more information. But I don't know who Snoke is, so I don't know how significant that interaction is going to be. But actually, now that I remember, Snoke is the one who turned Kylo to the dark side completely.
Yes.
So she does have.
Yeah, she said that in the Force Awakens.
So I take that back. I am more excited to see her talk to him more than other characters because he's the dick who took her son away. Ultimately.
Yeah.
So.
It's going to be interesting. There's a lot of stuff to talk about with The Last Jedi. So, all right, well, moving on. Continuing with The Last Jedi, but moving on to a little bit of Battlefront stuff. The trailer for Battlefront 2 released during Star Wars Celebration, and it was revealed that we're going to be able to play with characters like Kylo Ren and Rey. And during a little pre-order promo, I guess you could say, they revealed the new looks of Kylo Ren and Rey for The Last Jedi. Nothing too major, but just a few costume changes. Kylo Ren's got some cool little stuff there. Rey's sporting a new hairdo and some really Jedi-like clothing, for sure. And we'll make sure the image is up right now. That way you guys can check it out for the podcast. But it's nothing really major. But Kylo Ren doesn't look like he'll be wearing a mask. Obviously you got to be sporting that scar after you received from Rey at the end of The Force Awakens. Show that. Looks pretty pissed off. Star Wars Newsnet, who revealed the image, they said that a large part of the Last Jedi, he will be unmasked. He may wear it here and there, but obviously the trailer looked like he had smashed it at some point or something happened to it. As far as Rey, he's still using Anakin's lightsaber. Whether or not she'll be getting a new one, we are just not sure. She'll also be sporting that same blaster she got from Han. Which is an interesting collection of weapons that she has. Because Jedi are usually, lightsaber only, lightsaber and blaster. It's pretty cool. It's kind of a Luke style thing from the original trilogy. And the image also mentions a modifier involving the Millennium Falcon. And it would appear that Rey may still operate the fastest hunk of junk in the galaxy. So it seems like even though Chewbacca, it would make sense for Chewbacca to get the ship, he's still going to continue to be the co-pilot. Looks like it may be in the hands of Rey from now on, which would be really cool because we saw her piloting skills in The Force Awakens. But you see these images, you see the new looks and a little bit of details about him as well. What do you think about him?
I love the new looks, honestly, because I don't want them to look exactly as they did in The Force Awakens. I love that Rey has her hair down.
Mm-hmm. Totally new style, yeah.
Kylo has a cape.
He does. Yeah, he's got a cape.
So he went from wearing a mask to a cape. I'm split on him being maskless because on one end, the Kylo Ren mask looks so badass, and I love how beat up it was. Mm-hmm. And it's like another Vader in a way, which is a good thing in my opinion. So now his mask is destroyed. Is he going to be completely maskless for the rest of the time, for however long he lives? But I like that because I want to see Adam Driver's performance.
So do I, yeah.
He's a great actor, and I've been a fan of him for a long time before he was ever cast as Kylo Ren. So I would love to see him, his facial expressions and stuff like that. But at the same time, I loved the Kylo Ren mask. I loved the way his voice sounded under the Kylo Ren mask.
Totally different,
It was so cool. That voice is one of my favorite things of The Force Awakens.
I think we'll see it, but I think at some point...
I think he's going to get a new mask.
We'll get that shot of the trailer where something happens to it and he goes unmasked for the rest of the time.
Yeah, I could see that.
Because we know
but it's fine. We got that in The Force Awakens for the majority of it, and I don't mind trying something new going forward. So
yeah, we saw that the mask from The Force, and we don't know how many he has, but the mask he had in The Force Awakens was destroyed on Starkiller. Yeah. He left it on the bridge.
And they clarify that in the Last Jedi trailer.
Exactly. So it's I'm okay with him maskless because he's got a sweet scar now. I think Rey looks awesome. What I'm interested in is that I've kind of looked at the trailer and images and stuff, and they've done a close up of this image, but it almost looks like he has yellowish eyes.
Oh,
like Darth Vader had in
Revenge of the Sith.
Well, that in the Rebels finale with Ahsoka, when his mask was beat up. It almost looks like his eyes are almost gloss yellow.
Hayden Christensen's eyes in Revenge of the Sith, they're freaking...
Well, on Mustafar, yeah.
Yeah, they're yellow, dude.
So
that's when you start going crazy through the dark side, that's what starts happening.
That's an interesting detail to put in there with him.
So he's going darker. Killing his father...
It put him over the edge.
Yeah,
basically.
for sure.
Which almost takes him to a level where he just can't come back.
Exactly. Well, that's the thing. It's it's tough. People say, oh, but Anakin slaughtered children. And it's different because he killed a character, like arguably the most beloved character in all Star Wars, Han Solo, depending on who you ask. He killed him, and we saw it.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't see Anakin kill those kids, and nobody cares about those kids. I'm sorry. They're children, sure, but no one cares. So it's different. And I don't know. I mean, if Kylo's going to stay bad, and Rey better be a Skywalker, or they better keep Kylo around for a long time, because I don't, and he's young. Like Adam Driver can play him for another 40 years.
And there's not going to be a giant time gap like there was, like a 30-year gap. So.
I hope there is a gap, though.
It'll be like 10 years.
I'm more on the side of taking a break after Episode 9. At first, I was like, no, I want Episode 10 2 years later, but I'm more on the side of taking like a 6-year break.
Let the excitement build again.
Let the actors age, let the excitement build, and that gives you room to do more spin-offs.
And let them do their thing on, other films.
And especially if they want to do a Han Solo trilogy.
Yeah.
Do the Han Solo trilogy.
An Obi-Wan, or even like a Knights of the Old Republic.
And then come back in 6 years with Episode 10, and it'll be so special.
I think so, I agree. All right, well, our final topic of the day. So Star Wars, Lucasfilm, Disney, they have the Force for Change charity that they always promote during each of their films. We saw the fantastic video between Mark Hamill and Daisy Ridley before Star Wars Celebration, and continuing it, Mark Hamill and John Boyega have done a couple of surprise videos to fans supporting the charity and making sure people know about the charity. It's really cool videos. Basically, these fans come in, they read some lines, they act and have some fun in character, and Mark Hamill and John Boyega kind of prank them, stand behind them. Mark Hamill, he's literally in front of them with a mask, acting with them with lines, having fun. I know as a fan, if I was in that situation, I'd probably faint.
I would freak out, dude.
It would be such a cool experience. But yeah, I mean, it's cool to see these kind of people who are involved in such a big trilogy take time to do the fans and make sure they know their thing. And so, I mean, what do you think of the videos, and how excited would you be surprised by
That's
these?
all I was thinking about. Like, if that was me, I would freak out, man. I mean, the John Boyega one would be cool, but the Luke one,
the Mark Hamill one is big time.
God.
One, how he did the actual scene of no,
yeah,
that's impossible. That's so cool.
I would love that, and I just think it's so cool because Star Wars would never be what it is without the fan community, and I love how much they give back to the fans, how much Lucasfilm and Disney and Star Wars decide to give back to the fans, because they realize that they wouldn't be here without them. And I mean, obviously the fans pretty much pay for everything, but
seriously,
it's weird because like Star Wars Celebration, they do it for the fans, but you got to pay a bunch of money to go.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like they're just doing stuff for free for the fans, but they do little things like this. They do, the Force for Change, and I entered it. Pray for me. I want to win. I just want to win the premiere.
To go with Daisy
Any
Ridley.
of them would be cool. I mean, the Han Solo
set visit.
I would be. You get to hang out with Phil Lord and Bruce Miller. That would be awesome. But if I got to choose, it would definitely be the premiere. How amazing would that be?
With Daisy Ridley?
Yeah, seriously. I just want to hug Daisy. Come on. But yeah, this is just really cool overall. Like, I love that these actors don't feel like they're above doing something like this, and the actors just are so excited to do it, and the fans are just so excited the way they react to it. Yeah, I would definitely faint. I would definitely fall over.
Yeah, we talked about we would love to see one from Daisy Ridley. Oh my God. I know she's super busy with everything, and another person I would love to see who's not super into the whole social side of stuff, but Adam Driver.
Yeah.
He's not really into the whole...
I feel like people would be scared of him, though.
Yeah,
like, I would kind of be a little bit intimidated.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you're Kylo Ren, but all right.
Yeah, because he comes to the premieres, but he's very reserved.
Yeah, but I could see... But it's also, like, it's hard to do that with a dark character like that, Like...
It's true.
Like,
it's true.
You wouldn't... Back in, like, the 80s, you wouldn't have done that with, like...
Vader?
Palpatine or something like that, Like, I forget... The actor's name is...
Ian McDermott.
Yeah, exactly. Ian McDermott. You wouldn't, have him surprise a fan. Like, it's not the same as Luke or Leia or Han doing it,
True.
But it would still be cool.
It's true.
And speaking of that, did you realize in Empire Strikes Back, he did not voice the Emperor?
No.
Yeah.
No.
It's crazy.
There's another guy, but he did Return the Jedi.
Yeah. Ian McDermott was him in Return the Jedi, like physical form. But I was watching Empire last night. I was watching the credits. Like, oh, that wasn't Ian McDermott, which is interesting. Yeah. But this is so cool. I'm just so excited about Star Wars in general. Like it's
creeping
crazy.
up quick. I mean, we're in May. It comes up December.
I'm not like when I saw that trailer in Guardians, I was like, I can't handle this. Like I'm gonna freak out when The Last Jedi comes out, man.
Yeah,
Like,
Gio and I were talking earlier. I mean, all of us gotta get on a ticket train as soon as they're released, man. It's gonna be hard.
This is hard to say, but like The Force Awakens, I was so excited for because it was the first Star Wars movie in over a decade, and it was just so special. It was the return of Star Wars. But my expectations and excitement is probably higher for The Last Jedi because of The Force Awakens.
Because of how good it was.
Well, think about this. So we didn't even know who the hell Rey, Finn, and Poe were, or Kylo, going into The Force Awakens. We were just excited for a Star Wars movie in general, and to see Han and Chewie and Leia and possibly Luke again. But now we're getting Luke back, we're getting a Star Wars movie, and we get to see the continuation of all those characters we fell in love with in The Force Awakens. So all of that combined, I think The Last Jedi, and I've said this before, I said this like a year ago or something like that, but I think The Last Jedi is like my most anticipated movie of all time, honestly.
It's close.
Because I can't think of a movie that is going to mean so much.
No, I mean, well, Star Wars is everything. We've talked about it to the two of us. Star Wars is like, it's
And I mean, the
example
closest thing would be The Force Awakens. You know? I mean, and there's other things like maybe Captain America Civil War. Like, it's hard, but if I had, like, if gun to my head, I have this, what's your most anticipated movie ever? The Last Jedi, honestly. It's a combination of excitement and emotion because, like, part of me wants to jump up and cheer, but part of me wants to just cry. Because I'm like, oh my
You're
God.
a kid again.
Yeah,
You're
it's
a kid
crazy,
again.
man. So yeah,
I feel you.
This movie, it's gonna be. I hope it's something special. What if it just sucks?
I know that would be so bad.
It's just
Could
horrible.
you imagine that?
It's like,
Oh my God, that would be so bad.
it's like Revenge of the Sith quality, you know?
Revenge of the Sith isn't that bad.
No, it's not bad.
It's not that bad. It's like Attack of the Clones quality. What if it was like Attack of the Clones quality?
It would never be. It would never be. The only thing that would like I could see fans being disappointed is Rian Johnson's style is very unique
Dark.
and different. Have you seen Brick?
Yeah, it's horrible.
Brick
Not in like a dark way.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
in a very dark way. It's a great movie.
Yeah.
But like horribly dark.
And it's like it's weird. It's hard to follow, and it's like it's kind of like creates this atmosphere that makes you uncomfortable. And I don't know if The Last Jedi is gonna do that or not. I mean, we're gonna love it, but I'm thinking about the casual Star Wars fan. Like, I think this movie's gonna be very dark.
Yeah, casual Star Wars fans are used to a certain way,
And especially
of movie.
like, there's a bunch of new fans because of The Force Awakens. There's people that never watched a Star Wars movie.
Want all those kids. Imagine those
Force
kids.
Awakens, and they're in love with. And then are these kids gonna be able to handle The Last Jedi? Like, everyone's gonna love it, you know. But I'm just curious, like, what the reception's going to be. Like, I could see some people being on the opposite side of it. Like, we're gonna love it because, oh my God, it's the Star Wars movie we always wanted. But other people are gonna be like, man, like that was too serious for me.
Yeah.
I could see people saying that, you know.
All right, well, that's going to wrap up this episode of the Padawan podcast. Before we go, I would like to thank Jacob for joining us today. Let them know where they can find you online, man.
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at @JacobBartley_. Anywhere pretty much. Jacob Ryan Bartley on this YouTube channel, obviously putting up stuff. We're cooking up where we're going to next with this YouTube channel. We kind of put movie news on a hiatus. We're just kind of figuring out things. So stay tuned, but we're definitely keeping Padawan podcast. That's for sure. That's one of the staples of our YouTube channel. So we're keeping that. But look out for some new things coming for sure.
Yeah, check us out, apocalypsemovies.com. You can find me, Jake Lynn, Twitter, Instagram at Qui-Gon Jake. Yes, Qui-Gon Jake. Make sure you give us a like, subscribe, share, comment. Keep those comments rolling. We really, really appreciate it. We love the conversation. Let us know what you guys thought of all the topics we talked about today. And until next time, may the Force be with you.